I'm Pamela Bergdahl, and I had the privilege of living in many different countries. And one of the countries I had the privilege of living in was Japan. And I remember when Terry and I were sent to Japan, and we got to work in Oyubari, which is a small, it was a coal mining town, and the coal mine had closed, and so the town also lost its population. The train station closed, and so forth. So the population, went down to like 1/10 of what it had been before. So we were working in Oyubari, and I just assumed that what we were doing was great, helping people and so on and so forth. And I had a job teaching English with the coal mine company. There was still a coal mine operating in the nearby town, and some of our villagers were working in the nearby coal mine. And so I was teaching English to some of the coal miners and so forth, or the executives there. And the consult had happened, and the people had made their plans of how they were going to redevelop their own community and so forth. And we had a guy who came from our organization who was going to help that summer, and he felt like the people weren't working fast enough. They weren't moving fast enough on their plan, and so he decided to go and start painting up these buildings and so forth. Anyway, apparently the people didn't appreciate that, especially the men in the community did not appreciate that he had, it was like we were taking over it was our project, and it's instead of theirs and so forth. So anyway, as a result of that anger, I think the coal mine decided not to sell us any coal, and so that's how we heated our home, and so we couldn't heat our home that winter. So we had to go and buy coal from a faraway place and have it delivered. And then the next year we had to go and find firewood. And so we went and collected firewood, and some of the people in the community helped us and so forth. And besides that, I lost my job with the coal mine company. And I assumed that some of the men in the community that were upset that we were taking over the project because we felt like they were too slow in accomplishing their own. So it was a learning experience for me, that to go in and to help a community do something. It's not about us. It's not our community. It's theirs. And when I was in Africa after that, and using some of our methods that we talked about, the participatory methods and so forth, that people ask, well, why do people do this, or why are people like, why do and people are motivated to do what they do because they believe there's a benefit to it. It's possible to do. They're capable of doing it, and so forth, and it's their responsibility. Otherwise, they won't do it. And it's this image that people have of what's beneficial or not beneficial, or whether it's possible or not possible, or whether I could do it or I can't do it, and so forth. It makes a difference whether people are going to do something or they're not going to do something, or whatever. And so our methods. The workshop method is one where the community talks about what's important to them, what they want to do, and they figure out in their planning and so forth how they're going to do it, and so forth. And it's like they are in that method, and in those kinds of planning workshops and so forth, they are actually creating their own motivation, because they're working on things that are important to them, that they think are going to be beneficial, and that they're creating plans that they think, well, it is possible to do. Not only that, we can do it, and and I'm responsible. It's not the government. We're building plans that we can do ourselves. And so I remember going, oh, now I get it. This is why the methods are so important, and it's so important that when we're facilitating people to create their own plans and visions and so forth, that they be realistic. Because I know in Africa, for example, a lot of the, they go out, people would go out and do these, planning with villages and so forth, and they would let people, talk about anything, and they put it down and so forth, and they were completely just unrealistic visions of, oh yeah, we want a health clinic here, and they were thinking that we were going to bring a health clinic to them, or the government was going to bring a health clinic, as opposed to helping them create their own motivation to do something themselves. So I think a lot of people, when they first started facilitating these plannings and so forth, they didn't make sure that people were planning things that were really important to them, that they were going to work on themselves. They knew that they could do themselves and so forth, and so a lot of times they failed. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to help people create things that they're going to fail at. You want to help them create things that they're going to be successful at and do, and build confidence in themselves, and then move from there.